When it comes to planners, things have already gone from 0 to 100. There are so many options out there. But what do you do when you're not sure which one to pick or which one is really going to work for you? Or maybe you've been burned in the past by trying on a bunch of different planners and none of them have felt just quite right. In this video, I'm encouraging you to make your own planner by showing you my DIY planning process that makes choosing which planner to go with kind of irrelevant. Hey there, Empire Builders! Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Haley Dale, and I am a content and sales funnel strategist, helping you create more productive, purposeful, and yes, profitable content too. So if that sounds like what you're looking for, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below this video or that little bell icon to be notified when a new video goes live for new value-packed videos just like this one every single Monday. I am obsessed with planners, and I am always looking for the perfect one for me. I think one year my record was 13 different planners purchased in that year. And what I've realized is that as obsessed as I am with pretty planners, they are not necessarily something that I'm very good at committing to. I'm a bit of a planner commitment phobe. And what I have realized through this experience and all of that money down the drain is that there is no holy grail of planners. And the reason is that there isn't that perfect planner out there that's just going to solve all of the world's issues for you right then and there is because planners are not for planning. They're for managing the plan. So now I have a planning kit that I use to actually plan my quarter and plan my month and plan my week. And then I use my pretty planner. I still buy them. I'm still obsessed with them as basically a glorified dated notebook. And that's a-okay. I love getting it and I love using it to manage the plan, especially because it keeps me out of digital. I'm able to just have a paper and pen in front of me with that daily list in front of me so I can focus, but I'm not looking to that planner for all of my planning needs and answers. What I do instead is create my own planning kit for creating my plan. And I like to plan on a quarterly basis. So I was introduced to 90-day planning from Todd Herman in his signature program, The 90-Day Year. And then I also read The 12-Week Year, which is a fantastic book. I cannot recommend it enough. But what I've realized is that quarterly planning simply works for me. It's not too early. It's not like I'm planning my entire year in advance, although I do some annual planning, which I'm going to get into that in a couple of weeks here on the channel. But it's not too early. I'm not plotting out the entire year and then, a global health crisis comes up and everything changes, but it's also not too late either. It's not like I'm planning for next week a major launch and so I'm stuck like working like crazy hours to put this thing together. It's really that kind of blend of like enough foresight, but not way too much that things can change a ton between now and when I plan. So that 90-day sprint, that 90-day planning process is really that sweet spot. And you can accomplish, I've found that I can accomplish a whole heck of a lot more than when I am trying to plan the entire year at once. So I'm going to walk you through my quarterly planning kit, and I am like pulling back the curtains and letting you see it all here. So it should be over on this side. And this is step number 1, where I review my annual planning vision. So I like to set a vision for the year, and every single quarter I'm doing a check-in. So I'm copying and pasting in that annual vision. And then I'm also like, what has my progress been towards it the previous quarter? So I'm making sure that little by little, I'm making my way to making the annual vision come true. Or maybe I'm adjusting the annual vision because I've realized that it includes something that I don't really want. The other thing that I plan here is like, how am I going to make progress towards this annual vision this quarter? How am I going to get closer to it? So that is where I like to start. That's kind of like my warm up to quarterly planning, is really to make sure that I'm on the right track for stacking up this quarter towards the year I really want. Step number 2 of my quarterly planning process is creating some kind of revenue plan. This has been the number 1 game changer for my business when it comes to increasing the profitability and increasing the number of sales that I make by actually setting an intention for making sales. So I start by putting down what is my income goal for the quarter. And then what I like to do is I like to actually plot out a potential path for getting there. So I will put down the offers that I'm going to focus on selling. What is their average price point? how many units do I need to sell? And then what does that add up to? So I like to play with the numbers a little bit until I have a really solid plan I feel confident about reaching to support that overarching quarterly income goal for the quarter. This way, I can move on to a bit of an initial brainstorm of what some of these goals might be. So I like to have the revenue plan in front of me so I know what it is I'm going to be trying to sell. And I like to just kind of think about, okay, well, what does that mean content wise? What does that mean that I'm working on content wise in my business for this quarter to support those dang numbers up above? I also like to think about what promos I might be running or what launches or sales I might be running. Also, visibility. What am I doing this quarter if my revenue goal includes making a ton of sales and my list size does not support that? What am I doing to build that list? So, what am I doing visibility wise to get in front of new people? Then, income. So, what products are going to drive those numbers? And projects. What are some other projects that I anticipate coming up this quarter? So, this little section underneath the revenue planner is kind of like my baby step into some goal setting, which I'm going to do a lot more of in the next step. So I like to start the goal setting process with a bunch of dreaming and a bunch of brainstorming. So I like to make a mess and just put down as many goal ideas as possible. And I put them all there. So I jot down anything that came up from the revenue plan. I put down anything that maybe is in my annual vision or my annual plan. Or I just think about what are some goals that I really thought about doing last quarter and I put in my parking lot to come back and revisit at this very moment of planning my next quarter. So I make a list there of all of the potential goals that I could be working on. But then I narrow it down to the top 5 I'm going to be pursuing this next 3 months. And sometimes, oftentimes I'll just have a bunch of goals there, the things that I actually need to be working on. But I like to try to set some different types of goals too. So sometimes when I'm setting these goals, I like to have one from each category. So category number 1 is a revenue based goal. So this might be a launch or this might be a promotion that I'm working on. Goal type number 2 is a creation based goal. So maybe I'm creating a new product, or maybe I'm creating an app, or maybe I'm creating something. So creation to kind of scratch that curiosity muscle that I have. I like to always be working on new things. So I need some kind of creation outlet in my business. The third type of goal that I set is a content based goal. So maybe I am working on my quarterly batch content. Maybe I am creating a new video series, but what is kind of that content project that I'm working on this quarter? And then number 4 is a systems project. So I always like to think about how can I make my business run a little bit smoother? And so usually I have some type of system-based goal as well for the quarter and something that I want to improve upon. And then number 5 is a legacy-based goal. So this might be when I'm working on a longer term project. Maybe I'm not going to get it done this quarter. So I can think of one specifically from this past year, but that was my book. It's been that goal that has haunted me ever since I started my business, that dream of writing a book. And this year I really made it happen. Writing a best-selling book was my goal, and that's what I ended up doing. And so this goal type number 5 is a legacy-based goal. So what are those longer term projects that are going to stand the test of time, maybe even after your business, you're not working in your business anymore, if that's your plan. So what is that legacy-based goal? It could also be something to do with charity. So one of my big goals for 2021 is to develop the charitable side of my business and making sure that I am using my business to encourage and support and empower other people. So the next step here is to take each of these goals, now that you have your 5 goals, and we want to detail them out a little bit more. So I have a 5x5 system. So for every single goal, and I have 5 of them that I'm working on for the quarter, I'm going to break each one into 5 sub projects or milestones that I'm going to need to hit along the way in order to accomplish that main goal. So I like to break these down. What are the milestones or what are the sub projects that belong in this goal? And what are some potential action steps underneath those as well? Then I get to get a little bit creative here by coming up with some potential topics for my content marketing for the coming year. And this is where I bust out one of my favorite tools ever, which is the How Factory. I will put a link to it below in case you want to try it out. I think the record is somewhere between 80 and 100 topics generated within that mini workshop. So definitely go and check it out if you want to fill your coffers full of ideas for potential content topics. So that is where I stop next. I do some topic generation. I usually use the How Factory. I also go into my inspiration bank where I've been kind of putting ideas for later over there. So I make sure that I put those in there as well. Then I'm going to plan for each of the 3 months in the coming quarter. So I like to create a high level plan, and there's two parts to it. So one is all about that high level monthly plan. And then the next one is about my marketing and my content plan for the month. And even though these things may change, I'm at least starting to like get the broad strokes of what's going to be in that month for that quarter. So I like to start with just putting the title of the month. It's pretty simple there. And then I put off my time off and my personal days. So when do I plan on not working? What are my like work no fly zones? So I put those down there too. And then I put in my promo. So what am I focused on selling this month of the quarter? What is my visibility plan? How am I going to get in front of new people? My engagement plan? How am I going to engage my existing audience and community? And then I also put down, so I break down those sub projects and I assign up to 3 sub projects or milestones or action steps from my goal plans into each week of that month. So I like to have it when I sit down on Monday to start my week. I don't like to think about what I need to do. And so I just pull from there and I have my top 3 for the week. I have my top 3 priorities. And I know because I've plotted out these months that every single week has a priority and has a sub project that I need to get done. And if I follow this plan, if I work this plan, I will accomplish my goals by the end of it because it's simply a matter of stacking those small wins. So then I move on to my high level marketing plan for the month and I put down what is my monthly theme first. And usually this is related to whatever I'm selling, but I'll put what actually is happening on the blog. So what are those specific topics? Then I put how am I promoting my offer? So what am I doing this month to promote my offer, or each week of this month to promote my offer? Maybe one week is reaching out for referrals. Maybe another week is Facebook ads or retargeting ads. What am I doing to attract a new audience? So I might have a summit going on, or I might know that I'm appearing on some podcasts, or maybe I want to send out some podcast invitations or pitches to get on them. What am I doing to engage my existing audience? So maybe I'm going to do a fun live in the Facebook group, or maybe I'm going to run a challenge. So whatever that is, I'll put that down as well. And then I have a space for anything else that's maybe happening that week of the month, just so I can keep my eye on it and remember it. And then my final stop for my quarterly planning kit is my model calendar and routines. So I like to update my model calendar. I'm a big fan of theme days so that I don't need to be trying to do all types of work on every single day, but I have like Monday for client days and client catch up. I have Tuesday for content and marketing. I have Wednesdays for meetings. I have Thursdays for hardcore client work. And then I have like my Friday CEO days where I'm working on bigger projects and bigger strategic thinking. I also like to update my morning and my evening routine for the coming quarter, just so I can keep that fresh and maybe experiment with some new things. So, what am I doing on a monthly basis for my monthly planning process? So, to be truthful, I'm not making a lot of decisions in my monthly planning process because most of those have been made through the quarterly planning kit. So, what I like to do is review the past month, make sure that I'm on track and I'm stacking those sub projects and getting them done so that I know that I'm going to be hitting my goals by the end of the quarter. I like to finalize my monthly plan, so take those high level plans and actually solidify them and update them. And then I like to create an action plan using my action plan generator, which I'll put a link below if you want to check out that amazing tool, which has helped me not over plan my day and overextend myself based on the amount of hours I actually have available to work. So let's talk weekly. So when I'm planning weekly, I usually do this on Friday mornings. I call it my CEO Fridays. And I like to review the past week. I like to do my weekly business journal. I'll put a link to some of my questions below for my weekly business journal. So I have a blog post with those questions. I review my monthly plan and my action plan just to make sure I'm on track. I check off what I got done. I move over what I maybe didn't. And I update my next week's list. So I can do these in Fridays in less than an hour. So the whole point of spending time on quarterly and monthly planning is to make our weekly and our daily planning a lot faster so we can actually get down to the business of doing. So most of our progress is going to be made in doing, not planning, but that is why we plan ahead of time so that we can make the most of the doing time that we have. Daily planning process. So let's get down to what is actually happening on a daily basis. So this is when I get to use my pretty planner and I break it out and bust it out now. I'm putting down any appointments that I have so I don't need to be tied to my phone and get distracted by Instagram notifications. I'm writing down my top 3 to-dos and I'm putting down my nice to-dos as well. So if I get those top 3 done, what should I work on next? And what would be just kind of that cherry on top of getting done? And I also put down any reminders as well. So I like to stay out of digital as much as I can so that I can focus and minimize distractions and notifications. So that's where my planner comes into play. So I hope that seeing my quarterly planning kit and walking through my entire planning process has inspired you not to succumb to the limitations of physical planners out there, but to really encourage you to make your own. So, are you thinking about creating your own planner or your own planning system? Tell me more in the comments. And if you want me to create more videos like this, let me know as well. And make sure to hit subscribe down below that video for new videos just like this one every single Monday.